All right. Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. It's Monday night. It's the dead of summer. And I don't know what you're doing. I hope you're enjoying summer, but I've got to tell you, it's the season to engage or re-engage, because I'm going to tell you what we want to start to create right now is new momentum, because it's never been more exciting. And if you have been seeing my posts in the past couple of days, you know how excited I am about tonight's call, because our speaker tonight, Kristy Kuhl, understands momentum, focus, and a daily method of operation. Let me tell you a little bit about her tonight. Okay, so I just kind of like to say Kristy Kuhl, MBA to SSC, and very soon QNMD. And of course, it's a lot of initials. It's like alphabet soup, but you're going to love what she has to share tonight. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about her. Small town girl. Okay, raised in Ohio, but this girl is curious by nature. I think maybe that's why I resonate with you, Kristy, because I was always the girl with my hand up in the classroom. Okay, and I have a sense you're the same way. She loves to travel. She's loyal. Obviously, she's smart. MBA. Who are we kidding here? But I think her core value is empathy. She's an empathetic, just lover of life and people, and she loves helping women build residual income. All right, so Kristy, you go to a Tony Robbins seminar and you hear him say, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Was that like taking a cold shower? I mean, tell us, who are you? Share with us, because you are an inspired creature.
Yeah, well, gosh, it's such an honor. It was such an honor to get your Voxer message, Terry. I just absolutely adore you. So it just felt like such a privilege to get this call, to have the opportunity to speak to your team. And before I get going, I just love to know who I'm talking to. Would you guys mind putting in the chat just what your position is at Juice Plus and how long you've been involved with the company, whether you started on the product and you didn't do the business, just how long have you been associated with Juice Plus, and what is your current title? That'll just help me have more of an idea of, okay, Kathy, 18 years, SC, awesome. QSSC, 5 years, okay, awesome. SSC, part of the community for 4 years, 25 years, NMD, partner for 1 year. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Well, I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, Terry, I want to tell my story. I don't know how much anybody knows my story, but it'll kind of go into this whole decision that I made here and where we are now. But as Terry said, I grew up in small town Ohio, and was always embarrassed of my clothes, always embarrassed that I didn't have what other people had, embarrassed of the cars that we drove, and that served as a lot of motivation to get out there and do something different. And I knew that I needed to get out of small town Ohio. I just knew in my gut that I needed to get out of there in order to blossom into the person that I knew that I could become. And it was tough because nobody else around me felt the same way, and I think that theme is always played out in my life, and maybe it plays out, and I think it's very appropriate in network marketing too, because a lot of people don't catch the vision. Oh my gosh, Nancy's from Ohio too. I grew up in Berlin Heights, Ohio, which is just a stone's throw away from Cedar Point, Northern Ohio, North Central Ohio. And so I, as far as I could see for myself, I wanted to be in, I wanted to go into medicine. Got to college and realized that the doctors and the nurses, and they just didn't make enough money. And it just seemed like the ones that I shadowed weren't very happy in their life. So I got an MBA and I merged the two together, and I went into the medical device sales arena, and I was there for 15 years. And I think some things that happened in childhood just led me to be incredibly strong, not show any feelings, right? If you kind of do the unwinding, you know exactly why you did what you did. And it served me well. Everything happens for a reason, but once you're aware of some things, you have the decision to change some things as well. And so I had found Tony Robbins because I went through a divorce, and it was a very unexpected divorce, and it wasn't my fault, but I knew that there's probably some areas that I could improve. And before I got back out there, and I was out there dating, but I'm like, you know what? I see a pattern. I would continue to choose the wrong guy. I need to go to Tony Robbins and figure out, what type of guy I want. And so it's funny how, again, you get a gut feeling to go somewhere, and then you hear the message that you're really supposed to hear. And I did learn a lot about myself in dating. But when I was in the rooms, and it was probably my third or fourth one, he said success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I think at that point I had felt enough pain in my career that I was awake, and I finally heard the words. And, you hear the statement, when the student is ready, the teacher appeared. Well, the student was ready. So I heard the words finally, which is why we always got to show up for trainings, because you just never know what you're supposed to hear, but you hear what you're supposed to hear when you're supposed to hear it. So he said that, and it hit me like a bolt of lightning in the chest. And I thought, that's now he put words to what I've been feeling. And I sat down at that moment and I wrote down all the things that made me feel fulfilled. And he was an exercise he put us through. And it was like rescuing dogs and walking in nature, spending time with family, really being present and connecting with people. And he's like, now you got to find something that allows you to do that and make money. And I'm like, there's no way. I'm going to have to marry somebody rich. Like, how in the world am I going to find something that makes this type of money that I'm making in med device, and I can rescue dogs and walk in nature and connect and pour into people. Well, you guys, know the rest of the story. But I also felt like making that type of money in med device, like it just came with a certain level of stress. And when I was in the Tony Robbins rooms, I saw that there were people that were a lot happier than me. And at the same time, my health was really suffering. 15 years of grinding it out, only the top 1% to 2% made it year over year. I climbed all the way, to vice president of sales for the United States. I specialized in disruptive technology. It was planes, trains, automobiles. I used to stand in the OR instructing surgeons for 12, 16 hours. Then I would lead my team doing the same thing and would have to teach them. You can imagine that I was not eating fruits and vegetables. I wasn't drinking, because then I'd have to go, to the ladies' room, and I couldn't do that often. And my health was really struggling. And so through my Tony Robbins journey, I had met Lauren LaHave, my upline, at a cleanse. And we stayed in touch, and I was seeing a naturopath, and I could not get on the right side of wellness. And I had like this many supplements. I wanted to go the natural route, and I wasn't budging. And so I reached out to Lauren. I said, do you have any idea what could be wrong with me? And she said, yep, you have a phytonutrient deficiency. And she was so confident. And I thought, well, just because of her confidence, I really wanted to lean in and hear a little bit more. But I didn't know what a phytonutrient was. And I was kind of embarrassed about that. But I finally said, like, what is that? And she said, you're not eating enough plants. And that resonated. I said, you're right. I'm not eating enough plants. And she said, you need to take this stuff. I know you're type A on steroids. You want it all like yesterday. You just need to chill out, and you need to take this and give it 4 months. And so I did that. I gave it 4 months, and I forgot all about it. Well, within a week, I had more energy. And within 10 days, the dark circles that I had since I was a child, a toddler, you look back on pictures, these dark circles finally went away. And I just thought that was the way that God made me. But the reality of it is, I've always had a fast metabolism, and I never ate fruits and vegetables as a child. So I was always nutrient deficient. And then I started having bowel movements every day, which never happened ever in my whole child or adult life. And I went to get my hair done, and my hairdresser was the one that really kept pressing me. And she said, you're doing something different. And I'm like, I am not doing anything different. And she kept saying it and kept saying it. And she said, Kristy, you have all this new baby hair growth. And I know you haven't been feeling good. And, it comes out in your hair. She could see. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm taking this stuff called Juice Plus. And she said, well, it must be working. And I had eczema for 20 years as well. And at that 3-week mark, it went away, and it has never come back. And so I called Lauren, and I was really surprised. I said, oh my gosh, it didn't take 4 months. This stuff is working right now. And she said, well, of course it is. And you should check out the research, And so I jumped online, and being in the medical world and talking to surgeons and CEOs, I understood the clinical data. And when I saw all the studies that were prospective, randomized, double-blinded, placebo, which may not mean anything to any of you, just know that it doesn't get any better than that. And when I would stand in an operating room with a cardiac surgeon, instructing him on how to put the valve in or use this, Da Vinci robot, I had to know my stuff. And if I didn't have good data that was prospective, randomized, double blinded, yada, 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 I would run the risk of getting myself kicked out of that OR, let alone not, him never using my technology. So it had my attention at that point, and she offered me the business. And I said, oh, okay, I'll take a look at that. Maybe I could put this in doctor's offices. And I looked at the business, and I didn't know that it was network marketing. And then I Googled it, it came up as network marketing. And then I ghosted Lauren, and she messaged me a few more times. And I said, I have to be like totally honest with you. I don't even like those people. I have no idea how I'm going to become one of them. I have an MBA. My reputation is everything. I mean, every person that's ever approached me, I know now they just didn't have the right training, right? They were brought in underneath somebody else, and they just looked at people like they had a target on their back. And that's how they treated me. So Lauren was smart enough. She got me to a GoPro event. And when I went to GoPro, I was introduced to people that were very educated. She purposely, took me around by my hand and found all these people in Juice Plus, outside of Juice Plus. And I saw doctors, and I saw lawyers, and I saw dentists, and I saw, astute businesswomen that had large businesses. And now my eyes are open, and now I'm leaning in and listening a little bit more. But I will be honest, the thing that I still remember today is the happiness that they had. They had happiness. They didn't look stressed out. They just seemed to be really enjoying their life. And it was really hard for me to believe that life could be that way. Because I just made life so hard, it was hard growing up. We, blue collar family, didn't have much. We worked. And I just made my life that way for the next 15 years. And I made a lot of money. And, but I wanted more things too. And I didn't want to sacrifice the money. I wanted to find a way to have the fulfillment and have the money as well. And so I will say that, I joined the business, and I've been involved in the business for 3 years. I came in, and my claim to fame in the medical device world, and I launched 3 disruptive technologies that are very well known now: 3D mammography, Hologic, and the Da Vinci robot are the 2 biggest ones. But I would come in, I'd take an assessment, I'd hire the right people, I would fire the right people, and we'd climb to the top so fast that became my reputation. Well, I came over here in network marketing, and I was a little tired. I'll tell you, when I came, I needed to catch my breath, and I didn't climb to the top that fast. And I almost quit because my ego got in the way, that I didn't get to the top fast enough. And isn't it funny? Like, it sounds so silly now that I would have left all of this because who in the world cares, and who in the world even knows besides me? But I don't know if anybody else can relate. And if you've ever had if you've ever gotten in your own way, and maybe it's that you're telling yourself that, oh, I'll start this summer when the kids go back to school. Thank you, Abby, for your honesty. I appreciate that. You're making me feel like I'm not the only one. Sonia too, thank you. But maybe you're saying to yourself, I'll start when the kids go back to school in a few weeks, or I'll start when I lose 10 pounds and I start to have more confidence and feel better, or I'll start when I take that course and I'm going to learn how to do TikTok. And you know what? That's how I'm going to grow my business now. I think there's so many ways that we self-sabotage ourselves if we're really honest with ourselves. And I don't know, does anybody here feel like NMD is just not possible, that you've been in your position for too long, or you feel stuck? But that, I think, can get in our way as well. We just feel like it's so far away, and your team is unraveling as fast as you're building. I'll tell you what helped me. I don't know if anybody feels this way, but what helped me is I just had to play a little trick on my own mind. And I heard somebody say somewhere along the way, and it may have just been that I was scrolling on social media, but what it said was, the longer it takes, the longer it lasts. So I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing over here. You know what? That's what I'm doing. And listen, that's not to say that people can't climb here super fast and that it doesn't stick, because I've seen it and it does. If you know how you got there and you're doing the right activities and you don't stop, it's going to stick. But I just had to find something that would, ease my ego a little bit to keep me in the game and keep me trucking along. So if you feel that way too, I would encourage you to find something, play a little trick on your brain, and just keep on going. But, really what needed to happen and what I noticed, and it's what they were saying, and I just resisted it, is that my business was not going anywhere until my business wasn't growing until I grew personally. I needed to do some things that I was not doing. And it all started for me with making a decision that I was going to make it happen, like for real, like for real, it was going to happen. And I made the decision first. And that's something that Tony Robbins says is, you decide where you're going, period, end of story. And you figure out the middle, you figure out how you're going to get it done, but you make the decision and you declare it, and then you figure it out. And Jeff Roberti says, you give it a strong yes, or you give it a strong no, but you're not doing anyone a favor, most especially yourself and your children, if you're just chilling in the middle and you haven't made a decision, right? So when I made the decision to go to the top, I had to make the decision to grow through things that were holding me back. And that didn't mean that I had to go take courses. It didn't mean that I had to go read a bunch of books, because there was, books are good. I'm not against it. What it meant was I needed to get out of my own darn way, and I had to start doing activities that I didn't want to do. I had gotten to myself in a place in my previous career where I didn't have to do the heavy lifting. I didn't have to grind through those activities of finding people and recruiting. And so my business didn't go anywhere because I was stuck in my, in my own ego. I was stuck in my own way, and I was not doing the activities that we know lead to success here. So there's no secret formula. There's like, I think we show up sometimes and we're just like, oh, just tell me what it is. And, you just have to go to work. And I'll tell you the things that I went to work on. In my previous world, I was collecting, $1 million POs. I had multi-million-dollar quotas for my team. I didn't honor and value each one of my customers here. And that was a huge mistake. I am really good at recruiting. I am really good at recruiting. They were coming in the front door, and at the same time, I had others that were leaving out the back door. And so I started plugging in and figuring out who is good at customer retention. I need to talk to them. I need to introduce myself. I need to ask them for some help, because I need to figure out how to keep my customers longer and make them feel cherished and loved. I had to have more conversations. I was not talking to enough people. When you think about the number of people you have to be talking to and engaging with, and I'm not saying asking the question, but you got to fill the funnel. You got to keep putting people in the top of the funnel, because at some point you can get to a place where you can ask the question. And then at that point, you still may need to follow up for, 7 more times before they say yes. And so, yes, exactly, Amy, fill the funnel and plug the drain. Love that. So I needed to have more conversations. And I had to start asking the question more, do you keep your income options open? I had to get to a point where I was actually asking that question. I wasn't just friending people. I wasn't just hanging out with people. It was progressing. And I'll tell you, the majority of my business I built online. I had 0 online presence when I quit my corporate America job. 0. Everything was locked down. I didn't want anybody to know what I was up to. I had to plan my days in advance. So who was I going to talk to tomorrow? And who was I going to talk to on Wednesday? And who was I going to talk to on Thursday? Who was I going to follow up with? I had to, again, get out of my own way and share with everybody in my life what it was I was up to, right? Not just, I think I was waiting to get to the NMD title before I was letting people in my industry know what I was doing. And I'm proud to say that I just recruited my first person, and she came in like me, like, oh, possibly I'll take a look. I'll get a discount on my product. I'll bring people to you. I get it. Whatever, man, just come on board. The door is cracked open, but I just recruited somebody that was very successful in med device, and she's gone through her own, awakening and priorities and what's important to her. But I wouldn't have done that a year ago, you guys. I was, I didn't want her. I didn't want people to know that I wasn't at the top. I had to make this business a priority. I had to say no to things like ladies' nights and ladies' trips and Netflix. And I tell you what, I love a good nap. And I even had to say no to some of those naps, because it's like, seriously, you got to look at your life and go, where can I get, Sonia loves them too. Where can I get, and maybe I'll have one, but it's like 10 minutes, it's not an hour. And so Has anybody, I don't know, has anybody gone, Terry's a professional napper too. Love it. So when you run for a promotion, tell me, just raise a hands or in the comments. Do you not run harder when you're up for a promotion or you're qualifying your business? Like, do you not run harder? Are you not like looking for people at the gas station? Seriously, in the bathroom? Like you are, all of a sudden you're chatty Cathy everywhere you go. You find more hours. You're not, it doesn't take you as long to ask the question or to make the connection or send the message on social media. Well, I just realized that had to become my new standard. And if I was going to get to NMD, that is what my day needed to look like. And that was my new standard. And my new job was working my DMO like my life depended on it. That's a non-negotiable, nothing gets in the way. My phone is, I turn all my alerts off, guys. I turn everything off. When I am in it, I am in it. I have a timer set. The only thing that gets me out of, what it is I'm doing is when that timer goes off and I move on to the next activity. And I'm happy to show you guys what I do for my DMO, and my team is doing a 90-day run right now, and they have a DMO that's working really well for them, and I'm happy to share that too. When I came over here, my claim to fame in my former life was having this formula that that I just would come into every new company and I would put it into place. The reality here was that the formula existed. I just was a little too proud and probably a little too tired to go to work and do it, but more proud than tired, if I'm truly honest with myself. I thought a salad at a jar party was the silliest thing in the world. And you guys, I love them now. People love them. I think the other thing that before I share my DMO that I really had to do is I had to stop noticing the things that needed improvement. I'm a Virgo. Is anybody here a Virgo? Virgos have a critical eye. We see what the areas that need improved before we see, anything that's good. It's just the way that we are. We're great editors. And I just needed to reframe some things that were really annoying me. And the fact that, when I would call corporate to get something settled, I would have to be on hold for 45 minutes. I just had to get over that. And I had to focus on the things that were really good, that we have a rock solid product, and the company would get better with that. And guess what? We no longer have those wait times. The company fixed that. I had to focus on the product and the clinical research and not being such a negative Nelly. I used to have an issue with the fact that we didn't have a team call. I'm on a team that's gotten so large, everybody's fragmented off. My upline is, doing amazing things in the world. And at the time that I came in, we didn't have a team call. Well, when I started to act like a leader, guess what? I started to think like a leader. When I made the decision I was going to the top, what does my team need? My team needs a team call. So gosh darn it, I have a team call every Tuesday. And you know what? We need something greater to plug into. So I went to my NMD with a solution. You leverage the relationships you have in this company, and I will hold the space. I will hold the call, and we will create, what it is I know my team needs, and your greater team will benefit from it as well. So, I just had to show up and start to act a little bit differently, and everything started to fall into place. I think the last thing that I'll say is, you have to set goals. And I think there's a couple of reasons, and Terry may know, more from here in network marketing. What I've seen so far is that sometimes people don't like to set goals because the pressure that comes with the goal that you just set for yourself. And so, I know I see that on my team. It's like, oh, I don't really want to, I don't like the pressure, the pressure is too much. I get that, but we can make this fun, and what if you miss, what's the embarrassment of missing? Well, we're going to hit QNMD, and I have one line that's 1,042 under right now, but gosh darn, I'm going to declare it right now. We're going to make it. We're going to hit QNMD this month. And we're shooting to hit NMD in October. I want to walk in Atlanta. And I'm telling you, that is a huge, huge, huge goal. And Kristy a year ago would have been embarrassed to say that, because what if I miss, and you know what? What if I do miss? So what? What if I hit it in November? What if I hit it in December? What if I hit it in January? I guarantee the fact that I set the goal, I'm going to hit it 12 months earlier than if I didn't set the goal at all, you know? So don't get so hung up if any of you feel the same way that I did, if that was holding you back. We're going to run like heck and we're going to have a ton of fun with it. If we don't make it, we don't make it. But we will make it shortly thereafter, you know, and just the act of setting a goal, again, the mind frame you go into and that overdrive, and you know, you're talking to people in the bathroom and at the gas station. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun, and to get that energy on your team as well. You know, it's I've partnered with sidelines. I've partnered with people in my team. I've partnered, you know, with people outside of my team. I just like to keep it fresh and real and get, you know, different perspectives and keep the energy as high as possible. So that's all that I really have to share. Terry, do you have any questions for me? I'm happy to share my DMO.
I would love for you to share your DMO, because everybody is like, have her share. And Facebook team up, Facebook page is blowing up. Share your DMO. So yes, what does the daily method of operation look like for you?
Sure. And do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. Okay, Kathy, you are awesome. Oh yeah, I do. It's right here. I didn't even look first. Okay, let me see if I can pull one up. I'll show you what my team is doing for, where did that go? No, that's not it. Okay, can y'all see this email?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just a jot form. So this is, if you go to jotform.com, you don't have to do it on a jot form. You can, I tell my people, you can do it any way that you want to, but you know, we're all in a chat together on Facebook Messenger. And because we're in a 90-day run, it's just so important, y'all. You cannot track what you don't measure, you know, you cannot measure what you do not track. And it's so important that you keep track of the conversations that you're having. How many conversations did you have? How many are converting for you? And what's your plan for this week? And so it's always good to start off with what the win of the week is. And so, you know, what I have them do is, what happened last week? What are you most proud of? It could be a customer, it could be a distributor, it could be that you handled an objection, you called somebody on your chicken list, you actually showed up to your business when you didn't want to. You know, I think sometimes we're not celebrating the small wins enough that are getting us to show up again and again and again when life is hard. So we start off with a win of the week, and then how many conversations did you have this past week? And a conversation doesn't necessarily mean that you're asking the question, because again, we got to get people in the funnel too. So, so how many conversations did you have last week? And then how many times did you ask the question? And how many three-way calls did you execute? Connection calls, three-way calls. That's something that we leverage a lot here. There's data behind that. You know, if you have two people have a conversation versus just one, it's going to validate, it's going to answer some questions that are in that person's head that they're probably not asking you. So just trust the process. I had to trust the process and start doing the activities. And then for this next, and then how many follow-ups completed, right? We're 7 days away. Monday's a qualifiers day. So we're 7 days away to closing this. Everybody who's close to promotion should be really focused on follow-ups, right? That's the people you've already had conversation with, probably a greater likelihood that they're going to say yes. So how many follow-ups did you have last week? And you can see this particular partner, you know, she made herself some notes here as well as to what that follow-up, you know, looked like. And then what are you going to do when you start this week? So right now for this 90-day run, we meet on Sundays and we meet on Wednesdays and we do a power hour together. I do a little bit of training, and then it's our time to fill this out. So who in the world are we going to talk to? There's the two most important things that we get paid to do is find people to talk to and then talk to them. Right. But I think sometimes we sit down to work our business and then we're like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to talk to? And before you know it, your time is up. So just get yourself in a rhythm as to, you know, to plan out your week. And it may be like, who am I going to see this week and where am I going to see them? Or it may be that you can set a 1 hour aside in your DMO and block your calendar, and you can get through, for this 90-day run, we're doing 5 people, 5 conversations every single day.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 5 conversations every single day. Those
Yeah.
are actual voice conversations? Are those text conversations, or you're actually engaged with someone in a voice conversation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, if you look at I'm a data girl, and I've done a lot of the Eric Worre stuff.
Mhm.
So what you need to realize is having a face-to-face conversation in person is always going to be the best. Okay. That's just always going to be the best. If you can't do it in person, Zoom is going to be the second best. Right. From there, if you can't do that, then a phone call is going to be the next best thing. And then from there, if you're looking at conversion, what converts the best? Because some of you may be just sending a bunch of text messages out and you're wondering why you're not getting the conversion. When you send text messages, the goal is to get them, to a face-to-face or to a phone call. That's where the highest probability is. So, I don't spell it out for them. They all know that this is the way, that this is the highest probability. So if they want to start conversations on Facebook, Messenger, etc., the goal of starting that conversation is eventually to get them, to ask the question and to get them over to a conversation. So the worst conversion you're going to have is going to be text message. Text message in a Facebook Messenger. If you have somebody's cell phone, use that versus Messenger. That's just more personal. They take it more personal. So always face-to-face, Zoom, and then phone conversation. If you can't do a phone conversation, do a voice recording, and then it's going to be text message. And the last one is going to be DMs and social media.
Gotcha. All right, I just want to ask, there's maybe about 16, 17 that are with us on Zoom tonight. Anybody have a question for Kristy before we say goodnight?
Yeah, Kristy, I have a question for you. Okay, so when you say 5 conversations, these, for day 4, like Emily and Jennifer, are these conversations like all about Juice Plus, or some of these, maybe they're getting ready to ask the question, or maybe they're reconnecting with them? I'm always curious about, because I know that can mean different things for different people where they're at in the conversation.
Yeah. And that's a great question. And this is where you just need to lead yourself on this. And so, where obviously you want to be asking the question a lot more than just making chit chat, and you want to be getting people to that point, but it may not be appropriate. You may not have you may have not gotten them to a point. If you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, or you just met somebody on social media, you don't ask somebody to marry you in the first date, but it doesn't take a lot of back and forth volleying. And I've done a lot of the Fraser Brooks work as well. And, when I do things on social media, it's usually 2 or 3 back and forths before I'm transitioning that into, getting teed up to ask the question. Yeah. But if you feel like you need to reconnect, you need to get to know people before you do that. I think that, in your heart what's best there. And you also probably know where, maybe you're taking that a little bit too far. And maybe, you need to have your upline or Terry take a look at it and go, okay, where can I advance this? Am I going on and on a little bit too much? Because sometimes we get stuck over there and then we're like, it's hard to get back. It's hard that then we feel like, I don't know, we start making up stories and go, all right, well, now I just, was her friend for a while, but my real intention is this over here. So I think it's important to just have a little bit of chit chat. And you're looking for a need, you're looking for a need that Juice Plus can solve, so that when that's the whole goal of that chit chat is, first of all, people like it. You got to warm up the conversation, but you're asking questions that are going to help you figure out what the need is, so that when you present the opportunity, they're going to hear it. You're speaking their language.
Perfect. Great question, Abby. Thank you. Anybody else? We're running over tonight, but this is so great. Anybody else have a question for Kristy?
I think I just had something I want to share with you, because I think sometimes we get too anxious And we're like, oh, you just gotta look at this Juice Plus or whatever. You gotta look at my business, whatever. We were at a wine tasting party last night, and there was a couple there that we never met him before. And he wanted my credit card because he was selling some kind of healthy thing. And he didn't even know really who we were. And he, oh, but you guys need this. And, and I thought, oh, I've done that to people before when I first started in the business. I've been there. So I think we have to be real cautious, like you said, Kristy, just take your time, listen for their need first.
Yeah. Yeah. And know that you're coming from a great place. We all know that we're good people. We all know that we're good people, and, we're doing this and we're connecting with them because we're looking for an opportunity to help and to serve. And so, don't be afraid. And the longer you linger in that space, there are people praying for us to come and have this conversation. And if we're lingering over here and entertaining these conversations, we're never going to get to the people that are on their hands and knees waiting for an opportunity like this.
Wow. Perfect. All right. Our job, the need, the want, or the desire. Good job, Kristy. Well, many of us are going to be in Atlanta. And if you have a lot of strange women running up to you and giving you a big hug, they're probably on my team. Okay, because we're huggers. All right. And we're praying for you. We're supporting you. QNMD girl.
Thank
go
you.
Get it, my friend. Go get it. You own it. You've declared it. Go get it.
We got it. Yeah, we got it. Nervously, we're going to do this.
That's there. Scared and excited. That's it. That's when you're operating on all cylinders, scared and excited at the same time.
I tell you, it's a great place to be operating from.
It's a great place.
A lot more fun in this place.
It is. Well, hey, I don't know how to thank you. You're precious.
Oh,
we love you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all the work you do with the Level Up Tuesday night trainings, because you are an incredible hostess yourself.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, everybody. Thanks for being with us. For those of you on Facebook, everybody unmute yourself. Say thank you to Kristy.
Thank you, Kristy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristy.
Thank you, Kristy.
Peace and blessings. Love you much.
Love you.
Thank you, Kristy.
You're welcome.